All right. And I debated what we were going to do with this. And I said, you know what? It doesn't matter that Jordan's not here. Just because Jordan wants to take, look, we'll let the people respect and decide. Look, Jordan decided in the middle of Georgia's best recruiting run ever. He went to take a vacation. He's not going to be here for predict to commit. That's fine. Jordan is going to get Kipp as a liaison, decision maker, GM. He can be his auntie. And the beauty for this, for me, Kipp, is in the event that the Jordan Kipp team ends up winning, I'm going to give all credit to you in the event you end up beating me in this. So Jordan has now sacrificed all credit that he can possibly get for his predicted commit team. But what I will say is, it was a big week for Jordan's predicted commit team last week. He has 8 guys committed in Georgia's class now: Jared Curtis, Carter Lucky, Jordan Smith, Kamari Brooks, Shadarius Tootle, James Johnson, Craig Dandridge, and PJ Dean. He's got Tyler Atkinson, Caden Prothero, who I think he's sitting pretty for right now, and then Derek Cooper. We'll see, but I think 10 is the number that I would feel comfortable about saying Jordan will get to right now. For me, I'm sitting at 9 with Graham Houston, Zach Fort, Ryan Mosley, Justice Fitzpatrick, Zyke Helton, Ekene Egboko, Jay Lamar, Corey Howard, and Chase Calicut. I've still got Tyreek Green and Valdon Sohn, who I feel pretty good about too. So that would put me at 11. So Jordan needs to find something here or there. And I'm going to let I'm now referring to this forever as Team Kipp. Team Kipp, who are you going to be taking with the predicted commit? We're just going to be taking one. You take one, I'll take one. But I'll let you start as the newcomer and the new representative of Team Kipp. I will let you start.
My goodness, you're playing predict a commit as the resident Dogs 24/7 recruiting insider at a soul level 1 level. Like, you were playing, this is Elden Ring, new game +7 for the shout out to the fans of Elden Ring, but you're making it really hard on yourself, and I'm going to take the easiest route possible. I mean, I want Braden Vogel. Like, that is my pick for a predict to commit because, like I said earlier on the show, love where Georgia stands with him. They've made him a priority. He's announcing this week on Friday, and I love where Georgia stands. Like I said, a lot of people have asked about how, Braden's recruitment, they still have Caden Prothero in the mix here. And yeah, he's announcing on July 12th. So yeah, Jordan's team is really strong right now.
Your team is what you mean.
My team, I'm taking over ownership, at least for this show, of this team. Forever. Feels really stacked. And I'm going to add to that with a guy that I've already said is loved in Athens, and Braden Vogel. I think that you look at his recruitment, LSU's gotten some tight ends. They got him on campus as well. They're a team that I would say, for talking about at the end of the cycle, a team that you should be watching. I really love LSU's class right now, and it's only 11 commits, but it is an outstanding group. And I think that they have other guys that they are looking for at the tight end position that they're involved with. But at the same time, Penn State wants Braden Vogel. I mean, they've moved all their chips in. They said, hey, we think you're an outstanding prospect. They showcased everything to him when they got him on campus last month for the official visit. And yeah, I mean, you would think, given the numbers and looking at everything, that Penn State could be the pick. But at the same time, I think that the relationship Todd Hartley has with Braden, I think he's already showcased to him the love he has for the Georgia program, the commitment he has to what it's going to take to be a part of that program. I like Georgia to add Braden to the commitment group on Friday, to add the group that's pushing for the number 1 class, already number 2. And I think a guy that's I'm not going to say he's underrated, because I haven't broken down the tight end group from top to bottom well enough, but I can say that for a guy that's rated what he is, hasn't been talked about enough overall. As far as Georgia, it's just so many guys that they've been involved with. It's tough to talk about everybody to give everybody the due. I mean, goodness, 26 commitments. This would be commit 27, assuming there aren't any surprises over the next 72 hours. That's usually something you hear about in December. I'm an old head. That's when I would say Georgia would be going over their limit to get a guy at the end of a cycle, like on signing day. Do they have room to add one more guy? Yet here we are. We're talking July 4th. They might be adding their 27th member of this recruiting class, and a guy that's a top 200 prospect. So I love that addition to my predicted commit team. I think he's a guy that's going to be beloved in Athens.
Yeah, I like that pick. Might have painted myself into a little bit of a corner here. Might have given myself when I set out on this, I didn't think Jordan was going to be able to be close, right? He obviously, he's done a much better job of following all of this and getting some of his own inside info throughout this than I could have anticipated. And now we're getting down to it. If he hits on Atkinson, Prothrow, and now Fogel, and that's 11. For me to get to 12, I'd have to hit on Tyreek Green, Brett Colajay, and Valden Sohn, and I just don't see all three of those hitting. It could happen, but I don't see all three hitting. I feel 2 or 3 is safer. So now I don't know what I'm going to do here. Look, I think Georgia will take another running back in this class, and all eyes are on Derek Cooper, who's already on Jordan's team. If Jordan gets Derek Cooper, I think I'm screwed. I'm probably on the pessimistic side when it comes to Georgia and Derek Cooper. I just don't think Miami's going to let that one go, given how other things have gone with them in recruiting. So I could try and take a flyer on a running back. I had Amari Latimer in my last mock class, knowing that he was probably going to be committing to Wisconsin. I could still see Georgia circling back late on that, but that's just a risky pick. We've talked about offensive tackle. Fletcher Turk I had in my mock class. I don't have the best feel for where that's at this point in time. Defensive line, Anthony Lunnan is a local prospect that I would have maybe felt good about Georgia after his OV season, but now that you add in Carey and Dean, and if Sohn happens, it's just hard to see the numbers there. Maybe Georgia tries to take 3 linebackers, and if Georgia gets Tyler Atkinson, who I can't take, maybe Nick Abrams, maybe Tamorian Watkins. I'm torn on what to do here, Kipp. I think I'm going to do that. I think I haven't taken a linebacker yet. Jordan's taken, now Team Jordan and Team Kipp, that I will be calling Team Kipp at least whenever Jordan's on camera. He has Tootle and Atkinson. Because Georgia just took 2 linebackers last cycle, I kind of lean towards them taking 3. I do find it hard to believe that they're going to get Tyler Atkinson and Nick Abrams to go along with flipping a guy from Auburn. But this is Glenn Schumann we're talking about. So I got to do it. I'm going with Nick Abrams. I will say I'm taking Nick Abrams, linebacker from Maryland, knowing that I do not have him. I would not put him in a mock class right now. I would not put in a crystal ball pick for Nick Abrams to Georgia right now. But he's making a decision on July 16th. And Georgia is very much in this. I know that he really, the things similar to how I put out a note on Preston Carey when he left his official visit after I talked with him. I did the same thing with Nick Abrams, just because when guys talk to you about Georgia in a certain way, it makes you take a step back and say, man, this guy's feeling Georgia more than I realize. And make no mistake about it, Georgia loves Tyler Atkinson. Nick Abrams is right up there in terms of how Georgia feels about him as a prospect. Freakishly long arms, really a lot of upside as an athlete. I think that he's going to draw a lot of Jalen Walker comparisons just because of his body type. And I know that he got to spend some time with Jalen Walker when he was on his official visit too. So it's not the most confident pick that I've made, but I would like to at least make a splash if I'm going to make a pick that I'm not confident in. And I think Nick Abrams would be that guy. So that's Braden Fogel for Team Kipp. And that is Nick Abrams. for Team Ben. How do you think? What do you think of that pick, Kipp?
I love the upside play, and we just talked about like the numbers are different now. So you're like, oh, Georgia's got this in the class already, and they have a chance to get Tyler Atkinson. It's both an upside play, kind of a downside play at the same time. Like, I don't know if Georgia's going to know exactly where they stand for Tyler Atkinson before Nick announces his decision. But at the same time, I don't think that they're out of it by any means. And we are talking about an inside linebackers coach that's coached 3 Butkus Award winners. And when players start to think about development and that starts to become a big part of their process, that gives you like one of the strongest positions you could possibly have. And yeah, they're going up against Alabama, Michigan. I love the prospect. Like that guy, he is an outstanding linebacker prospect. And I've felt that way for a long time, regardless of where Georgia stood. But yeah, with a couple weeks to go, I still would not count Georgia out by any means. And it's also a situation where you're going to have more opportunities in your predictive commit to throw out, to cast your line on developmental O linemen as well as flip prospects. I mean, do we think this is the group that Georgia is going to just have on signing day? No. I mean, there's going to be maybe guys leave the list, but also Georgia's going to flip somebody else. It's just going to happen. Like, especially when you get to the coaching carousel, the craziness that happens right there towards the end. So I think that the timing of it all right here in this predicted commit, knowing that what you're going to have down the road, and the fact that you're going to know it, locking someone in where you're going to have a feeling where their decision is, I think it was very prudent, and I'm surprised he wasn't already on, my team or your team already. So I love the upside there based on the options you had available.
Yeah, I strongly considered taking him back before that scavenger hunt visit that he took, or that scavenger hunt official visit. Like, he was definitely high on the radar, but I was always so hesitant because of the rest of the lack of clarity at linebacker and knowing how important Tyler Atkinson is. It's to my point that I made last week when we were talking about Shadarius Tootle. I think Shadarius Tootle making that decision and flipping simplified things for Georgia, because you know that they're going to go all in on Tyler Atkinson. Now you know who that other linebacker is in the class, and it's figured out. If you think you have space and the financial flexibility to be able to go get another elite linebacker, there is no question that Nick Abrams is the guy that Georgia would want. I will say, I think that Michigan and Alabama and Oregon, for that matter, are going to be tough to beat. But
I get it. But at the same time, who's starting at linebacker for Georgia this year?
That's a good point. We could name 4 different guys.
Yeah. So, and that's, what do you think Glenn Schumann said?
Yeah.
I mean, he's looking at Justin Williams and Chris Cole and going, hey, we got guys that are on all SEC lists, NFL lists, and we don't, you don't know they're starting because they're all playing. They're all on the field. And that's just what he's got. He can't. A lot of the times you have coaches that can make their pitches and say things, and the recruit just has to like believe them. But like Glenn Schumann he could show them. He can apply what he's actually done the last couple of years at Georgia and show him this is actually how the process works here. This is the proof of that process. And then you can just look at Jalen Walker, and then it's just like, okay, I believe you, coach. This makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think those teams have very compelling pitches. I don't think they're going to be able to say, yeah, we just did this, or we just had this guy do this after playing along, a Roquan Smith, or, playing beside a Nakobe Dean and then becoming a Butkus Award winner. It's something that only Glenn Schumann can do. And so, yeah, you can count Georgia out because you can look at the depth chart, you can look at the other recruitments, and then Georgia can still come in and win. And we just saw this happen last week.